students. In our previous session about this chapter, that is important dynasties of North India, in our first session we have discussed about Mauryas and Kushanas. Now here in this session, that is session number 2, we are going to study about Guptas, achievements of Gupta periods, and then we are going to study about Harshavardhana. This is going to be our session 2. Okay. Now let us study about Guptas. Guptas. After Mauryas, Guptas ruled India. See, we have studied about Mauryas and their achievements. After them, who has ruled? Guptas have ruled India. Gupta dynasty is a prominent one in the history of India. Like Mauryas, even Gupta dynasty is a prominent one in the history of India. The capital of Guptas was Patliputra. So, which was the capital of Guptas? Patliputra was the capital of Guptas. The famous rulers of this dynasty were Samudragupta and Chandragupta too. Among those rulers of Guptas, the two famous rulers of this dynasty were Samudragupta and Chandragupta too. Now what we shall do is, let us study one by one. Now let us first study about Samudragupta. Samudragupta was a brave warrior king. The inscription on Allahabad pillar gives a narration about his gallant victory. See, Samudragupta, how was he? He was a very brave warrior king. The inscriptions on Allahabad pillar, the Allahabad pillar which has been carved, it gives the detailed narration of the gallant victory of Samudragupta. Gallant victory means what? Brave victory, his heroic victory. That is, it is going to describe, give narration about the heroic victory of Samudragupta. This inscription was written by his court poet Harisena. Who has narrated this, who has written that? By his own court poet known as Harisena. According to this, Samudragupta defeated 9 kings of North India. How many kings he have defeated? 9 kings of North India. The other kings realized the strength of his military power and surrounded to him. See what happened? As Samudragupta, he defeated 9 kings. The remaining other kings, they realized the power of Samudragupta and his army, and they themselves surrendered to Samudragupta. Kushanas of Afghanistan and Satraps, that is Shakas of Gujarat, accepted his supreme power. That is, these kings, Kushanas of Afghanistan and other Shakas of Gujarat, what they did? They accepted the supreme power of Samudragupta. Later, he marched towards South India and defeated 12 kings. See again, Samudragupta, who has already defeated 9 kings, later what he did? He marched towards South India and there he defeated 12 kings. The king of Kanchi was one of them. Among those 12 kings, one of the king who has been defeated was king of Kanchi. In the memory of this conquest, Samudragupta performed Ashwamedha Yaga. See what happened? Once Samudragupta, he conquered, he won over the king of Kanchi. Then what he did? In this memory, in this conquest, what he did? He performed Ashwamedha Yaga, means giving the horse. Samudragupta supported the cause of education. Samudragupta, what he did? He supported the causes of education. He himself was a poet and a musician. Samudragupta, he himself was a poet as well as a musician. He had earned the title of Kavi Raja. Samudragupta, because he was himself a poet and musician, he earned a title called Kavi Raja. His veena playing pictures were etched on the coins of those days. See, Samudragupta, he used to play the veena. That his veena playing pictures have been carved on the coins of those days. A Buddhist scholar, Vasubandhu, was his minister. Who was the minister? One of the Buddhist scholar whose name was Vasubandhu was his minister. The golden coins project the power, wealth and grandeur of Gupta period. See, the golden coins which they used, they exhibited the power of the Guptas, the wealth of the Guptas, and also the style, we can say, or the importance of this Gupta period. Now, let us study about Chandragupta II. He was the son and the heir of Samudragupta. So, Chandragupta II, he was the son of Samudragupta and heir in the sense whatever the wealth he had earned, that was all from his ancestors. Chandragupta II, whatever wealth he has earned was from his ancestors. He defeated the satrapas of Gujarat who were ruling it for more than 3 centuries. See, these satrapas of Gujarat, they have ruled for more than 3 centuries and Chandragupta II defeated them. This was his major military achievement. Defeating satrapas of Gujarat was the major achievement of Chandragupta II. He had gained the title Vikramaditya. So now Chandragupta II has gained the title as Vikramaditya. He released new types of coins, golden coins. Famous poet Kalidas and other scholars were in his court. See, Chandragupta II, what he did? He released new types of golden coins. Apart from that, he had famous poet named Kalidas and other scholars in his court. His empire was economically prosperous in the field of literature, architecture, sculpture, drawing, science and mathematics. There was a tremendous amount of progress and a lot of achievements had been taken place. See, Chandragupta II, he was economically prosperous, he was economically strong, and what all we could see there in the field of literature. Not only this, in the field of literature, architecture, sculpture, drawing, science and mathematics, they had shown a very tremendous achievements in that amount. A lot of progress was seen and also achievements had taken place during the period of Chandragupta II. Now, let us study about Fahian. Fahian was a Buddhist monk from China. Who was he? He was one of the Buddhist monk from China. As he wanted to visit India, visit the land of Buddha, he visited India during the rule of Chandragupta II. Actually, what had happened is Fahian, he wanted to visit the land of Buddha. So, what he did? He visited India during which period? During this period of Chandragupta II. He has mentioned his experiences of India in his work Gokua Ki, means whatever experiences he had in India, that is Fahian, whatever experiences he had in India, he shared in his one of the book called Gokua Ki. According to him, crimes were very rare in Gupta Empire and the administration was pro-people. See, according to Fahian, what happened actually? Crimes in India during the period of Gupta was very much less, and also whatever the administration was being set up, that was for pro-people in the sense those administration was always in the favor of people, was set up according to the goodness of people. Traveling was very easy. Fahian visited many Buddhist places of India and returned to China with many religious texts. See, during Gupta period, traveling was very much easy, and Fahian, what he did? He visited many Buddhist places in India and later returned back to China with many religious texts. he translated them to Chinese. Whatever religious texts he had studied here in India, after going to China, he translated that into Chinese. Now let us study about achievements of Gupta period. First thing is Sanskrit literature. Sanskrit literature grew well during Gupta period. Kalidasa was a major poet of Gupta period. What happened actually? Sanskrit literature that grown very well during this period of Gupta, and Kalidasa, he was one of the major poet of this Gupta period. He is considered as one of the best playwrights in the world. He was one of the Navaratnas present in the court of Chandragupta too. Actually, what happened? Kalidasa, he is considered one of the best playwrights in the entire world, and he is one among Navaratnas, means those 9 special people in the court of Chandragupta too. He has written 4 epic poems and 3 dramas. Kalidasa, what he has done? He has written 4 epic poems and he has also written 3 dramas. Abhijnana Shakuntala is a famous drama. Among those, which one is a famous drama? Abhijnana Shakuntala is a famous drama. He is appreciated as Kavi Kula Guru, the teacher to the poets tribe. See Kalidasa, how he is appreciated? Appreciated as Kavi Kula Guru. Kavi Kula Guru in the sense, he is the teacher to the poets tribe. Shudraka, who wrote Mrichakatika, and Vishakadatta, who wrote Mudra Rakshasa, were the other famous playwrights of this period. That is what they have said. Shudraka, he has written Mrichakatika, and Vishakadatta, he has written Mudra Rakshasa. They were among the famous playwrights of this period, that is during the period of Guptas. The Panchatantra of Vishnu Sharma belong to this period. Even the Panchatantra which is being written by Vishnu Sharma also belong to this period of Guptas. The dictionary by Amarasimha called Amarakosha is an excellent work. It is still in use. Amarakosha, what it is? It is actually a dictionary. Dictionary written by whom? Dictionary written by Amarasimha. That dictionary is till today it is in use. Then now let us study about temple architecture. During the reign of Guptas, the temple architecture started. See, during this period of Guptas, even the temple architecture started. The Sanchi temple in Madhya Pradesh is an ancient temple of India. The temple, that is Sanchi temple present in Madhya Pradesh, it is an old, that is the ancient temple of India. Other temples of Gupta period are present in Bithargaon and Devgarh of Madhya Pradesh. We can find still more temples of Gupta period in which places? In the places called Bithargaon and Devgarh of Madhya Pradesh. The Dashavatara temple of Devgarh has a beautiful idol of Vishnu. See what has happened? There is a temple named as Dashavatara temple which is present in Devgarh. What it has? It has a beautiful idol, a beautiful statue of Vishnu. Let us study about stupas and chaitas. Means stupas in the sense dome shaped structures, and then about the chaitas. Dhamek Stupa, that is 128 feet tall at Saranath near Varanasi, was built during the time of the Guptas. And what about the paintings? Rock cut Buddha vihars and cave temples of Gupta period can be found at Ajanta and Ellora. See, we can find those rock cut Buddha vihars, means and also the cave temples which were being constructed during the Gupta period. We found that at Ajanta and Ellora. The paintings of Ajanta rock cut caves are world famous. Those paintings of Ajanta which are in rock cut, we all know they are world famous. Next, science, mathematics and astronomy. Science and technology had progressed much during the region of Guptas. What happened actually? Apart from all these things, science and literature, technology, that has progressed much during this period of Guptas. Aryabhatta from Pataliputra was a great mathematician and astronomer of Gupta period. We all have heard a name called Aryabhatta from Pataliputra. What was he? He was a great mathematician and also an astronomer of Gupta period. He had found the reasons behind eclipses. We all have heard about the solar eclipse and lunar eclipses, right? That reasons were being found by Aryabhatta. Brahmagupta was another great mathematician. Varahamihira was another great astronomer of this period. Apart from Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta was another great mathematician and Varahamihira was another great astronomer of this Gupta period. Now let us know about metallurgy. Metallurgy had achieved great progress during the Gupta period. This metallurgy, what happened, that also had achieved a great progress during the period of Gupta. The iron pillar at Mehrauli near Delhi is an example of this progress. We can see a huge iron pillar at Mehrauli near Delhi. It is an example of the progress of this metallurgy. This pillar, though 1500 years old, has not rusted or suffered wear and tear. See, this pillar, this iron pillar is how many years old? 1500 years old, and still we cannot find any rust on that iron pillar and there is no wear and tear. There are no damages on that iron pillar. Next we will study about Ayurveda. Vagbhat of the Gupta times prepared a summary of the famous work Charaka Samhita known as Ashtanga Hridaya Samhita. This is an authoritative work on Ayurveda and is being followed even today. What has happened actually is Vagbhatta, he was of this Gupta times. What he has done, he has prepared a summary of the famous work, that is Charaka Samhita, known as Ashtanga Hridaya Samhita. What it is? This is a authoritative book work of Ayurveda and is still being followed today. Surgery was also practiced in ancient India. During this Gupta period only, already the surgery has been started. Surgeons of those days had the knowledge of 127 surgical instruments. See, even during the period of Guptas, surgeon, how much knowledge they had? They had a knowledge of using 127 surgical instruments. They were able to remove iron and stone pieces from the human body. These surgeons, they had an idea or capacity of removing iron and stone pieces from the human body. The credit for using mercury as a medicine for the first time goes to the doctors of India. See, what happened actually? This credit of, we use mercury as a medicine, right? This credit of using mercury as medicine goes for the first time to the doctors of India. Let's know few things. Gupta dynasty, when it was founded around 1600 years ago. It ruled for more than 2 centuries. Plays of Kalidasa are Vikramora Vaishya, Malvik, Agnimitra and Abhijana Shakuntala, and epic poems were Raghuvamsha, Kumara Sambhava, Ritu Samhara and Meghaduta. These are few of the epic poems of this Gupta period. Temples during Gupta were built on a square plinth. They have a sanctorum and portico only. Means we can see a variety of temples built during these Gupta times. paintings done on walls are called frescoes. What happened actually? Those paintings done on the walls, they are called as frescoes. They are found on the walls and caves of Ajanta and Ellora. They are painted using ordinary brushes with natural colors available from the vegetation around. See, whatever the paintings they have done on the Ajanta and Ellora, they are done using these ordinary brushes with natural colors available. These caves were hidden from view. They were discovered in 1819. The weight of the iron pillar at Mehrauli is 6 tons. See, we can see here one of the iron pillar at Mehrauli. What is its weight? Its weight is 6 tons. Height is 23 feet. Till the beginning of 19th century, no European blacksmith could cast such an iron pillar. See, during those period only, this iron pillar at Mehrauli, it is 6 tons and height is 23 feet. Till the beginning of 19th century, no, not even any European blacksmith could cast such an iron pillar. Now let us study about Harshavardhana. After the decline of the Gupta Empire, many independent dynasties arose in North India. See, we have already studied about Gupta Empire who had ruled for 2 centuries. After this decline of Guptas, what happened? Many independent rulers came into that arose in the north part of India. Important among them was the Pushabhuti dynasty of Thaneshwar. Harshavardhana was the most popular king of this dynasty. Among those many independent dynasties, one of the important dynasty was Pushabhuti dynasty of Thaneshwar. In that we find a ruler name or a popular king whose name is Harshavardhana. Now we shall study about Harshavardhana. Harshavardhana was only 16 when he ascended the throne. See, when Harshavardhana accepted his kingship, he was only at the age of 16 years. By this time, many sad incidents had happened in his life. Until he had reached the age of 16 years, Harshavardhana had already seen many sad incidents in his life. What were those? That is, one among them was after the death of father Prabhakaravardhana, his elder brother Rajyavardhana Varma had ascended the throne. See, what actually happened as after the death of Harshavardhana's father, whose name is Prabhakaravardhana, who came on the throne? Rajyavardhana Varma. He actually came on the throne. Their sister Rajeshri was married to Grahavarma of Mokhari dynasty, that is sister of Harshavardhana, whose name is Rajeshri. She was married to Grahavarma of which dynasty? Of Mokhari dynasty. An evil king of Malwa killed Grahavarma and imprisoned Rajeshri at Kanauj. See, one of the bad king of Malwa, what he did, he killed Grahavarma. After killing him, he imprisoned his wife, that is Rajeshri, at Kanauj. Though Rajyavardhana defeated the army of Malwa, he was killed by Shashanka of Gauda. See, actually what happened later was Rajyavardhana, he defeated Rajyavardhana, he defeated the army of Malwa. After that also, he was killed by Shashanka of Gauda. During these turbulent times, Harshavardhana came to power. During all these things which was happened, who came into power? Harshavardhana came to power. What he did? He located his sister in the forests of Vidya Parvata, who was roaming around as widow. After coming to on the throne, after ascending the throne, Harshavardhana, what he did, he found his sister in the forest of Vidya Parvata, who was roaming around like a widow. He took over the Mukhari kingdom of his brother-in-law. He also took over what? Mukhari kingdom of his brother-in-law. He made Kannauj the capital city of Mukhari of his kingdom. Later what he did, he made Kannauj as the capital city. Later, he built a bigger army and captured Kashmir and Sindh regions. See, Harshavardhana, later what he did? He built a bigger army and captured Kashmir and Sindh regions. He also invaded South India. When he arrived at the banks of river Narmada, he was defeated by the Chalukya ruler of Karnataka, Pulkeshi II. Once Harshavardhana has went on extending his empire, what happened actually? When he arrived at the banks of river Narmada, he was defeated by Chalukya ruler of Karnataka, whose name was Pulikeshi II. Harshavardhana ruled North India for about 40 years. See, before he was defeated, Harshavardhana, he has ruled the north part of India for around 40 years. He was close to Chinese traveler Yun Sang. Let us know about the literature. Harshavardhana was not only a warrior but also a poet. See, Harshavardhana, he was not only a brave warrior but he was also a poet. He wrote 3 plays in Sanskrit whose names are Priyadarshika, Ratnavalli and Nagananda. These are the plays written in Sanskrit by Harshavardhana. He had poets like Banabhatta in his court. Banabhatta wrote Harsha Charita, keeping Harshavardhana as the subject. See, Banabhatta, who was the poet of his Harshavardhana's court, he wrote Harsha Charita, keeping Harshavardhana himself as his subject. Harshavardhana supported education and donated library to ancient Nalanda University. See what happened? Harshavardhana, he also supported education and he donated library to the ancient Nalanda University. Next we are going to see about the religion, that is Harshavardhana was tolerant of all religions and was respecting all religions. Harshavardhana, he was not restricted to one particular religion only. He was tolerant, he was supportive towards all religions and he was respecting all religions. Though he was a Shaiva follower, he supported Buddhism. See, Harshavardhana, he was a follower of Shaiva, yet he supported Buddhism. He organized religious conferences in Kannauj and Prayag. Harshavardhana, what he did? He organized religious conferences in Kannauj and Prayag. Huan Tisang. Huan Tisang was a famous Chinese traveler. See, who was he? He was a famous Chinese traveler. He visited India 1400 years ago. Huan Tisang, he has visited India around 1400 years ago. He traveled in India for around 15 years and studied Buddhist literature. See, Huan, what he did? He traveled India for around 15 years and studied Buddhist literature. He studied at Nalanda University too. He had stayed in the court of Harshavardhana for many years. Huan Tisang, what he did? He has stayed in the court of Harshavardhana also for many years. He has recorded his experiences in India in a book Siyuki, which means the record of the Western Kingdom. See, Huan Tisang, what he has done? He has recorded his experiences in India in a book named Siyuki, which means the record of the Western Kingdom. Now next we shall study about Nalanda University. Nalanda University, which was in present Bihar, was a popular university for 6 centuries since Gupta period. See, this Nalanda University is a very popular university which was in present Bihar, and it was popular since 6 centuries during the period of Gupta. It was the most famous university of ancient times. Students were coming from places like China, Japan to study here. See, Nalanda University, it was so famous that even the students of China and Japan came to study here. It had 8 schools and 3 big libraries. See, this Nalanda University, it had 8 schools and 3 big libraries. Though Buddhism was the major subject of study, subjects like yoga, Veda, medicine and others were also taught. In this Nalanda University, which was the major study? Buddhism was the major study, but apart from this, there were also subjects like yoga, Veda, medicine and other subjects. Huan T. Sang spent many of his years in this university. Huan T. Sang, what he has done? He has spent many of his years in this Nalanda University. We can find the picture of Nalanda University in your textbook. Also, let us know one factor, that in Nalanda there were no fees for education, boarding and lodging. See, in that Nalanda University there was no fees for education. Not only for education but also there was no fees for boarding and lodging. To bear the running expenses of the university, revenue from 100 villages was pledged. See, to see the running expenses of university, revenue was given from these hundreds of villages. Harshavardhana was one of the chief patrons of this university. Students' life was disciplined and great scholars were among the faculty. Who were those faculties? Great scholars were the faculty of Nalanda University, and students' life was also very much disciplined. So students, in this session we have studied about Guptas, and then we studied about Harshavardhana. Among Guptas we studied about Samudragupta and Chandragupta too. So this was all about important dynasties of North India. I hope you have followed this lesson. Stay safe and keep studying. Thank you.